So, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. It is Wednesday, and it's Wednesday. It's after the 4th of July, and everybody is recovering, and it is time for us to venture out in Coffee and Tidbits, our flagship show of Excited Minds Media. And we're going to get to the beautiful, the dynamic, the world-renowned, from Hollywood, now settling down from Nashville to Denver to wherever she is today. Phyllis Spielman is joining us now as our new co-host and anchor of Coffee and Tidbits. Hey, Phyllis, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. Yes, so now I am actually in Jersey right now.
Good.
And yeah, it's been beautiful. Spent the whole, the beginning of July, the celebration weekend here. So it's been great. I'll be going back to Nashville soon, then to Denver, actually. Vegas, actually, next week. But yeah, I am here and so excited to be talking about this, to be hosting Coffee and Tidbits.
Well, we're going to get to the coffee and we're going to get to the tidbits, because the tidbits are sometimes coffee and tidbits. One part you can define, and that's coffee. All things coffee, over a cup of coffee in coffee shops, what coffee means around the world. Robert Mills is with us, and he comes on Monday nights. And 2 weeks ago, we were talking about the terroir of coffee, maybe a name that you've never heard. Have you ever heard that term, terroir?
Okay, spell it.
Terrrior.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yep. I'll explain that to you just briefly in a minute. But anyway, I want to get back to Phyllis because she has been with us. We finally determined about 5 or 6 years, maybe we've been talking to each other.
Yes.
She came to the Distillery Channel team, found her through Facebook, stalking her, right, Phyllis?
Yeah, and it was just right timing. Just happened to be up.
So Randy, the stalker, I kept stalking her, and she finally relented.
I'm glad you did, because your persistence paid off, because I would get busy. Facebook sometimes can be overwhelming. So I just happened to be on at the right time, and bam, glad we connected. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're glad too. The Hollywood actress, I mean, she's produced. You can go find her on IMDb. I'm probably sure you're there with your whole litany of things that you've done there. But now we're really fortunate because she's going to be she travels all over the country. Right now, where are you right now, Phyllis? Where do we find you?
I do travel. And that's another thing. You have to find me either on Facebook, on Instagram, on this, or like doing this Coffee and Tidbits, because my schedule, I try to keep it busy because I like traveling now, and I'm empty nesting. So it's been really nice. So I'm in Jersey right now, and I spent obviously the weekend.
Love it. Yes. Very patriotic, for a vet. She is a vet. Come closer to the microphone just a little bit, because the closer you are, the better we can hear you. There you go. That's great. But Phyllis, you are a vet. You served in the Army, correct?
Yes, I am it's the 4th or 5th, forgive me, generation. And then my son now is a first lieutenant in the Army. So he, once again, carrying on that tradition.
Amazing.
And it's such an honor just to have served our country, and that he's continuing on with that. And
well, 4th of July is brought to us by you and your family. That is true. It is you hit the beach, and your family hit the beach at times that were not as desirable as when we had the benefit to hit the beach today. So we thank you for that. And there's just not enough money and not enough words to be said about our vets, all the different the millions of people that serve our country every day, putting their life on the line, and they do it voluntarily. I mean, it's quite remarkable. So we thank you for that. But right now, we infected her over the past 2 or 3 years because I don't think she was too much into golf, and she went and got her into the PGA Merchandise Show about 4 years ago. Can you believe that? It's 2019.
I know that was just prior to the COVID, but yes, that was what a great experience, meeting so many different people and learning more about golf.
Yeah. Well, in the fashion end, they have a big fashion area over there, and a lot of the women manufacturers, they're certainly interested in working with you and sharing their clothing with you. So, because you wear it so well. But then she was visiting us, I think it was also in 2019. I think it was September of 2019.
Yes.
Our home up right about then. Mm-hmm. And anyway, we were getting heavily into Foya State coffee. and developing a way to infuse coffee with bourbon, rum, and wine and things like that. And you started drinking coffee. Now you're everything coffee, right, Phyllis?
I am. I'm learning all different ways to make coffee, which I never knew there were so many various ways to make coffee. And there, with one bag of coffee, it actually doesn't taste the same if you make it several different ways. So you can have one bag of coffee and it tastes so different depending on the method that you use to make coffee.
How did you get so passionate about it? I mean, you really got it. I was just so delighted that when we talked coming back, you were like, no, I'm into coffee, I really am. And then when you have that coffee, that zest for coffee the way you do, I thought, well, we got to do coffee and tidbits. It's perfect for it.
Okay, so during that time, right after 2009, COVID hit, started learning to fly. With my boyfriend moved to plane. Well, during that time, we had to get coffee. Like I need coffee. I'm one of those. That's my good morning. Good morning. Let's have some coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So going across country, so many things closed. Trying to find a good cup of coffee was always challenging. Mm-hmm. And then so we'd go from East Coast all the way up to San Francisco area. And as you go through the different areas of the country, you'll find they either use a coffee pot, they either use a cappuccino machine, they don't know what a cappuccino machine is, or they use these pour over, right. Or there's still another, I'm trying to think, there's still more methods and I'm still learning those.
Yeah.
But the last one that I had recently was, those little cone thing? Okay. My terminology. I'm learning the terminology on that.
You're doing good.
But anyway, so the coffee, I thought, you know what? I want to try this. So I was in Colorado Springs and I went to a local coffee, roastery, coffee roastery, right? Mm-hmm. It was just around the corner. I didn't know that it was just, that's what you bought, the beans. I thought it was just a regular coffee shop because I was exploring, right? I love exploring. I saw coffee.
Right.
So I walked in there and the gentleman says, okay, what kind of coffee maker do you have? And I go, does it matter? He said, like, I just want coffee beans. Can you just grind them for me? And he said, no, it makes a difference. So he was explaining the differences in that. And I'm still learning those. But I had a French press also because I travel so much. Yeah. I would carry a little French press with me, a little mini one.
Yeah.
And when I would travel in my car. So he said French press, or if you have a regular, the Keurigs.
Sure.
Okay. So then you would need different ones for the Keurig and different ones for the French press. So I thought, okay, fine. Give me 2 bags. One grinded one way and one grinded for the other. So then one was a French press. One was a dark roast and one was just a regular. And that has to do also with the amount of oil. Once again, that is collected by doing these different methods because it affects the taste.
Right.
So I thought, all right, I did the French press machine, or I did my French press. Get back to Nashville. And I saw this cool little coffee pot. It was like you can use it for tea and coffee. And the ones that had the temperatures now.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know that coffee is normally, at a higher, I knew it was like about 212, it can be anywhere from, 212, 200, 212, right?
I'm going to give you the quick pop quiz. So if you do it at 212, what temperature is best served at and drunk at? That's a tough one. You might learn something.
I would say 180 or 160.
No, you're right on the first one. 185. You're right on it. You're doing good. Go ahead. That's pop quiz. All right, there you go.
You know why that is? Because I didn't know that until I was at one of these companies that I'm not going to say the name, but I was there and I would ask for kid temp. So once I learned what that was, I knew, okay, I want it a little bit hotter. So what's in between? Anyways, so back to this little pot. It had neat little pour over.
Yeah.
And I thought, it's so neat, it's so cute. So I want to buy it, right? So I got home, and I'm like, I don't have the little V shape. I don't have the little thing that's supposed to be.
There's so much to this.
But I want to try it. So then, okay, here's what I do. I get a coffee filter. I swear, this is a true story, right? I get a little coffee filter. I open the top. I put the coffee filter around and I tape it. Okay. And then I put the grinds, and then I use this coffee pot that's kind of like distinctively like that.
Right. Turkish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, God, it's not going out fast. You're forced to pour it. Okay, so what you do, or what I did, because I'd watched the videos, you pour it, and then it goes down, and you keep pouring it in a certain way. You keep pouring it, and so what it does is the granules, or the little coffee beans granules that you have there. What it's doing is it's giving it time, and it's like absorbing some of that. I want to say that oil. It's allowing it time to pull the flavor.
Right.
So that is when I was like, wow. So that same cup, right? I set aside, tasted it, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit in a Keurig little cup, because we have the disposable, so I can always make my own. I put it in there, pushed it, watered, pushed down, comes out, taste it, and I'm like, ooh, nah, I don't like that, right? So then that's when I realized there really is a difference in how you prepare it. Also, do you like bold coffee, or do you like not so bold? But let me tell you something, Randy. When I first started coffee, really, really loving it, is when I was stationed over in Germany. I didn't have cappuccinos until I was stationed over there. And after that, I came to America, and I like the bolder, I like fuller flavor. However, I'm also learned whenever I get espresso shots, I now will say, okay, I like, do I like them fruity? Do I like them a little more darker? Yeah.
I'm honest to God, I find this so delightful, because you could go on for another hour and a half or 2 hours. I mean, you really could. I know. I think it's fantastic. So here's what we're going to do, and this is just on the fly. Okay. This is going to be fun. In fact, right now on our website, we don't even have our coffee store up. For all the coffees that we have in the background, we don't have them up. So here's what we're going to do. If it's okay with you, I think we should develop, with your passion, Phyllis Spielman brand coffee developed by Ohio State Coffee. Now, what we have to do this, Phyllis, is that you won't sleep for a year and a half. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send coffees to you that I will roast. Okay, I will order out some of the most expensive coffees in the world.
Here's the deal, though, Randy. Though, if I like it, it's that it has to be smooth. Like
it's going to be your coffee. You're going to test coffee.
Got to be smooth, right? Okay. Right.
So this will be a process, and we'll just have to take people through it. Okay, and we'll do it week by week. We'll just sit and say, okay, this bean from Brazil didn't work, and the next bean from Costa Rica did work, and the one from Hawaii was great, and the one from Ethiopia maybe C+. Who knows? But
we got to come up with the rate. Okay, then with that being said, then we're going to have to be fair, because there's all different tastes, right? But maybe like a rating scale. We're gonna have to come up like our rating scale, coffee and tidbit rating scale on it.
Well, let's see. We'll call it the tidbit scale.
The tidbit scale. I like that. That's awesome. Right. The tidbit scale.
The tidbit scale. So on the tidbit scale, how many letters are in tidbits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you get the S, that's a 7. That's a really good. If you get the T, you got to try harder. So we'll figure it out.
Yes, brilliant. Yes.
All right. So we'll have fun with this, but it's all about coffee. We're never going to sleep. This is going to be fun. I have
the tidbits, the S at the end of tidbits for superb.
There you go. We won't have help doing this, but we'll send this and grind them up, and you can grind them up down there, and I can infuse something. We got malt. We got, how many flavors we have. Right now, I've got about 20 different varieties of beans from all over the world, from Bali, Costa Rica, Ethiopia, just all over the world. And, we'll begin with a nice juicy bean. Do you like Costa Rican coffee? Have you ever had Costa Rican coffee?
I like Costa Rican. Yes. I like Colombian. To be fair, there are coffees from different areas of the world that I haven't tried. However, I will be open to trying them.
That's good. That's good. Well, this can be fun. So you're sitting in, so that'll be next week. This can begin. We'll have to, now do you go back to Nashville next week, or where are you going to be?
Okay, so, all right. So I
Well,
have to go before my son
Right.
deploys, which he's deploying. Okay. Before my son deploys, I've got to go to Vegas, right? God, what a bad, God, Vegas. I'm like, ooh, Vegas. Okay.
I have to hold it in.
For 3 days. And then I'll be back here in Germany. And then on the following week, I will then be back in Nashville until about maybe until the 9th. I might do something in between there, but yes, I'll be back there around the 18th.
Well, you give me a place you're going to be in the next week, and I'll ship you some beans. Okay.
Okay.
And they're going to be from
New York.
Yeah, they're going to be from Bali. Okay. One of my favorites, a mountain grown organic coffee. The history behind this in Bali beans, actually a volcano wiped out Bali a number of years ago so the government came in to re-energize the economy, and they gave everybody coffee beans, because coffee beans are grown in very small farms by individual farmers. And when I mean very small, it could be half acre. Like the size of the lot that my house is on. Very small. And so they gave everybody coffee beans to grow all over the mountains to re-energize their economy. So they had to be organic, couldn't use pesticides or herbicides. Some of the best beans in the world.
Okay, Randy, that's something I would love to say. I really have found that I enjoy the organic, and I prefer that just because of that, what you just said. I want them to be free of pesticides, free of things. So that's important to me.
The other thing that's important you'll find in coffee too is to make sure that people get paid well that are doing this. Yes. So there are organizations that we belong to and we look at. So when I import beans, I make sure I do the history. So we'll be reading the history before I even order them. I'll bring in tests that I have that I can share with you, but we'll make sure that the people are getting paid well, that are harvesting the beans, and that it's a very big cultural issue. And it could be even women-owned organizations only that could, be part of this. So you're going to learn a lot about on this side of it. Mainly, we want to focus on your taste buds and your energy.
And I want to do that because I love it. But one of the things that I've found that I've liked is that what you just said, the knowledge of the coffee beans, and I'm really open to exploring those. And sometimes, why does one taste a certain way? And also, we can explore too, how do they get the certain taste that they get?
Okay, so that's terroir. So that what we featured in 2 weeks ago with Robert Mills, I was roasting some beans outside at the beginning of the show, and letting everybody know in the world of coffee beans, or even in the world of distilling bourbon products. But let's just focus on coffee. Where those coffee beans are grown, will soak up the energy and the flavor of the soil, the rain, the fruit trees that it's growing in. Is it acidic ground? Just the aromas. They're like, coffee beans are like little sponges, and they're actually the seed of a cherry. So they don't grow beans. It's actually inside a cherry that they call, and they have to get rid of the husk and the cherry that's around it, and to get down to that seed. Where that bean is.
Okay.
The bean is a seed. Out in LA, it is a great company, and they have a way of just bringing the world's best jewelry to you, right to your own home. But anyway, it's called Diamond Veneer, diamondveneer.com, and this is off one of their blog pages, and this right here just says it all. It says how this nano diamond discovery is disrupting the $25.4 billion luxury jewelry industry. And you can go to this blog and read about it, because if you want to get affordable diamond for people that you love and make their life happy, this is the website to go to. I have always believed in the products of making people happy, and this is what this diamond and beautiful collection of jewelry does, coming to you from diamondveneer.com. There'll be more on this every week. I'm going to be pointing out many different items that they have on their website. Of course, Phyllis Spielman is going to be happy to join us and be showing you directly what their jewelry is going to look like. But right now, if you go to diamondveneer.com and go to their blog, and you can take the link I'll put up on our website that you can go to, but it is just a great story on how the nano diamond discovery is disrupting the $25.4 billion luxury jewelry industry. And it's all found here at diamondveneer.com. You know, they don't grow beans. It's actually inside a cherry that they call, and they have to get rid of the husk and the cherry that's around it, and to get down to that seed. Where that bean is.
Okay.
The bean is a seed, basically. And they're full of oil. I said in the show 2 weeks ago, or was it this week? 2 weeks ago, is that when people started roasting beans in about 2000 in their home, they found places they could order, and that was very difficult at the time. And they were told, oh, just put them in the oven, put them in the popcorn popper, literally, and roast them at 500 degrees. But what happens is beans have oil in them. And the rule is beans, it's not if you're going to have a fire, it's just when you're going to have a fire. Because that oil can catch fire. I mean, it's oil at 500 degrees. I mean, they smoking, whatever. So there is some safety precautions that now in the little roasters I have, and even in the big roasters that individual roaster companies are using, is that they put in fire suppressants. I mean, it's
in the
roaster.
In the roaster?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it happens occasionally, but if they know what they're doing and they keep it clean, it's fairly safe. But the thing is that terroir will pick up, like we said in the show 2 weeks ago, you can travel to Bali through your cup of coffee, because that coffee, that Bali seed, is going to remind you of what that coffee tasted like when you were there. Or the Big Island of Hawaii, one of the most expensive coffee beans to bring into the mainland is Big Island coffee.
I have tried Hawaiian. I will say I do like the coffee, and there is a difference also for me from drinking a regular coffee and having an espresso bean. So I do know that some of the smoothest coffee that I have had, not espresso, has been from Hawaii. So I'm interested in definitely trying that.
Yeah, it's expensive. I mean, just for me to buy it at my cost is about $50 a pound. $50 a pound.
For 1 pound.
1 pound. I mean, you go to the store today and you find Maxwell House for $4.77 a pound. And you can go get Hawaiian beans unroasted, shipped to the mainland for anywhere from $27 minimum. I've seen them as high as $65 for a pound.
Wow.
But it makes the most incredible cup of coffee you could possibly imagine. Right now, I'm having beans sent to me. Are you ready for this? I'm ordered a half a pound and only going to cost $300.
From where? From Hawaii?
I can't say.
Oh,
it's going to be a mystery.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a place where they rarely raise coffee. Rarely.
Is it a new? Okay, is it a new place?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. So we're gonna have to wait and to find out later. Right.
Yeah, it is. It's an amazing cup. It's an amazing, and it has nothing to do with cats. You know, if you're into cats, you do.
I heard something about that this last. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure if I'm into that type of.
No, we're not into that.
I don't want to feed my cats some coffee beans.
No, it's a particular cat, and it's actually. I've read a story. You know that there's these beans that they've been harvesting for women's makeup. Have you heard this? It's a very, very rare. And I have to get these stories tied together for next week, but they're both coming from.
So I'm going to research some of these too, because that's interesting.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be
makeup?
Well, it's a makeup that they're finding in the same part of the country, coming from the same process those coffee beans are coming from, and they're producing it and they're selling it for like this much in New York for women for like $500, like a liquid for your face and stuff. And
I wonder if it's because the caffeine, because supposedly caffeine, I know we sometimes put tea bags over our eyes, and sometimes there are creams that have caffeine in. I bet you that's Yeah.
I think for 94 years old, you look fabulous, Phyllis. I mean, all of it's worked.
Hey, I have 6 more months left of my 40s. Hello. I'm almost 50,
I was going to
but
say,
not till next
I'm
year.
not saying anything. I am not. No. You're beautiful.
It's
You're
okay.
wonderful.
It's out there.
No,
It's out there.
I'm going to have to take it out. I'm going to cut it out post production. Nobody's going to know.
I asked.
No, well, what was really funny last night, I was like, Cal, I'm going to be on the show with you at your age. And I said, I wonder what my face looks like these days, age wise, if it's 90 or 100 or whatever. It was sort of a fun project last night. So I just didn't want to be the super old guy, 4 generations older in appearance, but I can't do anything about it. I have never used tea bags or anything. I just try to, get some sleep.
You know what I think it is too. Now, I was just talking to someone recently about this, is your spirit that you have inside of you is something that is, it's one of those things like this, all the good things in life.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of all the good things, you have this energy and this positivity and this glow that can radiate. And that in itself means so much more than
well, if you're throwing it my way, I appreciate the compliment. I've tried to always live and walk in steps of good karma. And
yes.
and we've tried to teach that. And what Phyllis is talking about, all the good things in life, our show, as we tell everybody, we go around, they say, what's Coffee and Tidbits about? We go, well, it's about golf, travel, sports, dining, sipping, and all the good things in life. We're not going to talk politics. We're not going to talk religion. We're not going to talk, you can, what we wanted to do, the design of this show, is that you can get up on a Sunday, get yourself something to read, New York Times or a magazine, pictures in it, and sit down and have an hour listening to our rambling on here about coffee or history or, between whatever we want to talk about. It's going to be
I'm going to that. This is unscripted.
No.
Unscripted.
No, had no idea.
The coffee, except for the coffee. You're going to have to let me know ahead of time that it's going to be there. I'm going to be on the doorstep, and I'm going to know. And I'm going to research that.
It is your face is going to be on each one of these packages, and the cool part is on the back. We found out how to do some really cool things. On the back of our packaging, we actually can sell music if somebody wants to come up there and reproduce music, or if we want to do movie clips, or if they want to have links to our old shows. Or this, by the way, this show is going to be out on Roku. Roku has 61 million households that they're in, and they are broadcasting to over 120 million. But I did a total today, asked our partner Rob on Facebook. We belong to over 600 Facebook groups, which represents about 30 million people that this show will go out live to if we want to go live. We have our own new website coming where it can go on live. We have LinkedIn. I have 35 groups there that represent 5 million people. We have a relationship with Magic Interactive Media that has live streaming for concerts and sports events. And we are on Roku and we're on Amazon Fire. And Amazon Fire is in development a little bit, but we have right now over 300 million people we could connect with, live streaming to all of them at the same time. And nobody has figured out how we do that. And so we're
there. So, and I don't know. This is like one of those things. I don't know. I don't need to know.
No,
I'm good.
No.
So nobody asked me because I just don't know.
This is
the best way for me to be is I just don't know.
You don't need to know. This is a don't need to know. They can torture you, but they will never find out.
That's because I don't know. So don't even bother them or any time.
This has taken only 10 years of my life to figure this out. I mean that seriously. I took COVID. When we created, and you don't know this, but during August of 2020, we were trying to find a way to help entrepreneurs when the pandemic was over. And Rob, who's known as Rob in the Rear View, he's the admin for To Catch You Up. Rob in the Rear View, he's on one of our shows. And the reason for Rob in the Rear View is we always say, if you see Rob in the rear view, speed up, find a cop, don't stop, don't let Rob catch you, because the guy's nuts. But the thing is, he developed our Facebook group called Craft Beverage and Culinary Tours. And now we have in that 4,300 entrepreneurs that represent about another 12 million people in 73 countries. Wow, that expanded organically too. And it's crazy. So what we wanted to do is get the word out on, craft beverage and culinary tours, where you can go to help support all the places that were shuttered. Go ahead.
Speaking of, I'm not going to show you the wrapper. Anyone ever wants these are the Scotties? If they want to throw any tidbit
Best that there is right there.
Coffee,
Best that there is.
try to just send it. I'll test it out too.
There you go. Well, we'll get in. So this one comes from Elgin, Illinois. That's a worn out coffee cup. It's the best donuts in the world. Country Donuts, and they're on Route 20 up in Elgin, Illinois. And I still have 10 pounds moving from there. I mean, it just, they just were, it's crazy, but this is just going to be delightful. You're in Jersey. How far are you from downtown New York? We're in Jersey.
Depends on what time of the day. So when I flew in, they flew me into LaGuardia, and I
the
thought,
scariest landing in the world.
It is, but I thought LaGuardia, because the last time I was here, it was during the pandemic. So I got to see all of New York. I got to go up to the Eiffel Tower. I got to go up to all these.
Well, the Eiffel Tower is in Paris, so make sure you're in New York.
Well, that's not what I meant. Not the Eiffel Tower. Shoot, thank you. See the Rockefeller.
Have another cup of coffee.
The Rockefeller. I went up to the Rockefeller. Excuse me, because I looked up and it was so fast, and we went up so high.
Now, wait, can I stop you again? You're not thinking Empire State Building.
No, Rockefeller.
Rockefeller Square.
Rockefeller Center.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Now we know where you're at. All right, go ahead.
Okay, Rockefeller. And once again, we're playing charades here. So we went all the way to the top. So we went to the top of that, and I have a picture of that. So I have proof that I was up there. And then rode a bike around the city, 27 miles around one day on these little city bikes, right? And then, anyways, to make a long story short, so flew into LaGuardia so I could go through New York City to come, because it could have flown into Newark, right? I thought, it'd be nice to you guys fly me into LaGuardia, because then pick me up, get to take a drive through New York. Arrived at 1:30. It took 4 hours to go 45 miles, because that's how far it was from there to where in Jersey, where I'm at, right? So I thought, wow, why, what's going on after 2 hours to get from LaGuardia just to the tunnel. Well, during that time, okay, I got to tell you this because this is funny. It relates to coffee. It really does. Okay. So I had to go to the bathroom so bad. So I told my boyfriend, okay, it's slow moving. I'm going to run into this restaurant over here. I'm going to use their bathroom, right? It's right before the tunnel, before you go into Jersey. And I jumped out to my bag, going, and the gentleman's like, can I help you? Would you like to, are you here? See, I said, no, I just like to use the restroom. He goes, are you ordering something? A cappuccino?
Of course. I am now.
Listen, I'm like, cappuccino. Okay. So I wait there for a second, and I'm having to go to the bathroom. I'm like, God, please hurry up with this cappuccino. Please hurry. Okay. Then he goes, all right, $10. I go, okay. And then I'm thinking, shoot, I look at my purse. Listen, I look at my purse and I'm thinking, okay, I have a 20, but I got to tip him. Damn. So, and I don't want to look like a cheapskate, right? Because it's a really nice restaurant. And I'm just using them for the bathroom. So I run to the bathroom, But in the meantime, I give them a 20. He gives me back a 5, 2 5s. And I didn't want to be once again like a cheapskate. So give me a $5 tip. Go to the bathroom, come back, and I'm like, that's the most expensive coffee that I've ever had. Those expensive bathroom break I've ever had. So then I go outside. When I go outside, the car had moved 5 positions. I jump in the car and I'm like, that was the most expensive bathroom break I've ever had.
Jeez. Welcome to New York. It's fantastic. So they actually are testing. Are ready for this? I have to get back to this, but they were testing how much people would pay for coffee in Starbucks. So they actually had an $18 cup of coffee that you could get in Starbucks out in Seattle. And I'm going to tell you, they couldn't keep it in stock.
Hey, I was there. I was in Seattle. I was in Seattle during COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got to see the brewery,
I know.
the whole facility down there. It's really intriguing.
Yeah.
So, but okay, they paid for that out there, $18.
$18 before tip, before tax. medium size, or what they call is a grande or whatever it is. I don't know.
Did they say what kind of what was so
I'm going to
special?
have, before I'm not going to report falsities. I wasn't prepared for this. I have to go back and look it up. But I was just talking to one of my friends out there, and we were talking about expensive coffee. Actually, this guy is very much into coffee. He's expanding exponentially across the country. And we were talking about expensive coffees. And he said, yeah, that's a whole new niche, you know? And I said, well, how is it expensive? It's expensive. I said, we're talking about this $18 cup of coffee. And he says, well, the coffees you're roasting, you're getting there, because that's what people are willing to pay $150 a pound for a well roasted, you know. And the thing is that when people go into any of the coffee shops like Starbucks, you're really, what they're doing is you get coffee. How many people don't get milk? I mean, they always talk about milk, but in true coffee roasting, you drink it black. You know, you want that black.
I was just going to say that's another thing too. Is I've started over the last year. I've started trying the espresso or the coffee, depending on what mood I am, what time of day it is that I want to have it, before I add cream, because I really want to taste it. Is it acidic? Is it not as acidic? Is it, what type of flavors am I tasting? Are they the chocolate? Are they apricot, cherry? And so I will try it before I even add anything to it, just so I can see, okay, because sometimes the milks you add can change the flavor of your coffee or your espresso.
Have you ever heard the terminology coffee cupping?
No, I gotta write that down.
Awesome. Coffee cupping. Yeah, look up YouTube and you'll find out what coffee cuppings are. And it's a whole procedure for when we roast coffee to find out the essence of if we like it when we get done roasting it. Because when you roast it, there's no instructions. When I get in beans of how to roast the beans, there isn't. You just got to do trial and test. So we have a computer.
Maybe that's seen that. I mean, I've seen something that have you go into one and they'll have cups or. Okay.
Those are called coffee cuppings, little white cups that you slurp with a spoon and you spit it out, and it's, you know, it's just.
Okay, so it's kind of like wine tasting.
Yeah, exactly.
All the wine.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah, exactly. So this is going to be delightful. We've now run over time, but that's okay. I think it's just been fantastic. Anything else you got to say today? I mean, I just love having you back on the show. This is going to be fantastic. In fact, I did look up, you know, I'm going to see if I can bring it up to the screen here for you. I'm going to share my screen here for a minute. And if I can find it, I've got to go back to, if you can hold on just a minute, got it. Let's see what I got here.
Yeah, no, it's been great. I look forward to this coming out of COVID. This is wonderful because during that time, there's so many of us have gone into very recluse, and all we've been exposed to many times on the internet, it has not always been positive. So this is really nice to come out of it with everyone else that is as well, and have positivity and think about. And these are fun things. These are good things.
I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have you back, and I want to do more of these. We can do as many as we want. We're going to grow into this. It's going to be fun. We're going to adapt to it. Phyllis is going to be all over. We're going to actually get together, do some things together on the road. But I'm so excited to have you back, Phyllis. I can't tell you. You look fabulous and beautiful for 39 years old. I think it's great what you're doing. Going to turn 40 here soon. Just remarkable. And we'll look forward to doing this, as soon as you want. When you get adjusted and you sit and feel like you want to, you got something to say, you say, just send me a text. And if I'm here in the office, which I am most of the time, we'll turn it on and we'll get your story immediately and go from there. But at least once a week, you're going to have a show called Coffee and Tidbits. Phyllis, myself, Robert Mills, other people are going to be coming into the show. We're going to blend it all together. We hope it's a fast half hour, whatever it turns out to be. It could be 10 minutes. We don't know. It's going to be on Roku. It's going to be on our Facebook pages. It's going to be on Magic Interactive Media. It's going to be all over. If you can't find us, you ain't looking. That's just all there is to it. And Phyllis, we want to thank you. You be safe. Can't wait to do this next week. It's just going to be great. And look forward to some coffee coming to your porch. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. All the good things in life.
All the good things in life. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. This has been Old Uncle Randy with Phyllis Spillman, and we're going to be wrapping this up here, and Phyllis is going to be staying out in Jersey, but this show is brought to you by the Distillery Channel Media, LLC, and its Excited Minds Media by the Distillery Channel, LLC, copyrighted 2022. This is